Ciao buongiorno ragazzi, welcome to another episode of Inter Worldwide. Today we will be doing a little bit of a pre-match analysis between Inter Milan and Shakhtar Donetsk for the semi-final of the Europa League. As we all know by now that this is the fixture that's going to be played, Shakhtar Donetsk have beaten FC Basel 4 goals to 1, which means that they will now face Inter Milan in the semi-final. Just a little bit information about Shakhtar. They are the winners of the Ukrainian League for the 1920 version. They are a team that has had some European success before. They won one UEFA Cup, but other than that, they're usually semi-finalists in the Europa League, or sometimes even make it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So when we try to analyze the way that they play, when we try to look at how they attack, there's one thing that's very clear, which is that they like to utilize the pace that they have throughout the whole team. They've got three. First of all, they play a 4-2-3-1, which can, at points in the game, turn into a 4-3-3 with one trequartista, or like basically it's Tyson who drops under the striker and sort of plays from there, and he's usually the one spearheading counterattacks. So that being said, they're a very dangerous side when it comes to the counterattack. They will be content to sit back and defend. They've got two holding mids. Stepanenko, in particular, he's a very decent midfielder. He's relatively good in defense, and he's also got decent capabilities when it comes to progressing the ball forward. In addition, they've got young talents like Kovalenko, who is, I mean, he's relatively young, but he's someone that can definitely cause trouble as an attacking mid. But but without a doubt, their biggest threat on the pitch is, without an absolute doubt, Tyson, number 7. He plays as the attacking mid. Usually, he is flanked by Marlos on the right and Konoplyanka on the left. There's also Fernando, he can come and play in on the left. Sometimes even Kovalenko can be put up on that spot in order to cover up for any deficiencies. But the bottom line with these guys is they're very fast, and they also like to combine a lot in the box, just outside the box, where you would find that they would shift play. They shift play a lot from left to right and from right to left. Actually, it's a bit more from left to right, where you would see their left winger sort of trying to combine with the left back, and then they sort of deliver the ball in the middle towards Tyson, who then tries to do the same combinations with either Moraes, Junior Moraes, the striker, or the player on the other wing, which at this point, if they're moving from the left to right, it will be Marlos. And that becomes very dangerous. They can overload the wings very quickly on the counter, and that's just super dangerous when it comes to their speed. In addition, that striker, Junior Moraes, he's he's no Robert Lewandowski, but the guy can put the ball at the back of the net. He's quite dangerous, especially when it comes to those quick combination plays. It becomes difficult to sort of mark down who gets the ball. They do a lot of those one-touch layoffs in the box where it's very crowded, and that can be definitely very dangerous. So in terms of who's gonna have their work cut out for them the most, it's without a doubt gonna be the midfield again. I think that without a doubt, Conte is going to have to go with the three-man midfield of Brozovic, Gagliardini, and Barella. Like it was said on the previous episode, Gagliardini, his presence does help Brozovic, and it does complement Barella a lot more than a lot of the other options um, available for Conte. In addition, this is going to be a game where Inter can find themselves in a spot where they pressure the opposition for so long, and then the Shakhtar breaks on the counter, and it's two defenders or three defenders on three. And in football, if it's as a defending side, if you have less or equal to the number of attackers, it's counted as a losing situation. So you're always going to want to have one more at the very least so you can be tied when it comes to being the defending side. And with the way that they can break at pace, the three forwards, it can definitely be an issue. I mean, the three mids, it can definitely be an issue for Inter. So that's in terms of them attacking. Now, in terms of defense, they're not they're not a special side by any means necessary. They are content with sitting at the back and waiting for the opposition to sort of lose the ball, lose their concentration. That's when you find that they play this very quick ball. They always try to fight Tyson in the build up. He's the mastermind. If Tyson is shut down, then it can be a very easy game for Inter to play. And if the defenders stay back, because usually what you would see is Bastone pushing forward. Sometimes even Diego Godin would push forward. If not, or if they do it while keeping their concentration and keeping the line, it can definitely be a very easy game for Inter. But in terms of the attack, as in Inter attacking the opposition, their defense, like again, it's not anything that special. They've got Mattia Vinku, who I personally think is kind of decent. Um, but other than that, really, there isn't any much threat when it comes to their from them defending against us. They do have a left back called Ismaili. He's injured, but so he's not playing. But again, he's a good left back in my opinion. But he's not playing. But he's good in terms of going forward. When it comes to defending, I there's nothing really special. I think that Inter have the firepower regardless of what sort of attacking formation they decide to go for. If Sanchez is fit, the reports saying that he might not be, but if he's fit, if he pairs up with Lukaku or if he pairs up with Martinez or whatever, their defense I do not see it as solid, and their keeper as well, Payatov, if I remember correctly, he's regarded as a veteran in Ukrainian football, but again, nothing special. But all of this can really go against Inter Milan. All of this can play against Inter Milan because if the players get too comfortable on the ball, they can get countered easily. Now, of course, against Getafe, we saw Inter play a very, very solid defense, a very solid defense. And they were sort of, I don't want to say lucky, but we were definitely bailed out with the two goals we scored. The two goals we scored were uncharacteristically bad defending by Getafe. So, but the point is, we prevented them from breaking up on the counter. Cucharella, you would see him; he would get the ball consistently when they try to go on the counter, but he gets closed down very quickly. Barella, especially if I remember correctly, Barella and Brozovic, they really brought their game to that midfield, and I think that if they do the same again in this match, it's just a done and dusted game. I think Lukaku is going to be way too much of a physical presence for the defenders to try to deal with. I think if Martinez has his, head on his shoulders, he can definitely get away from his man, and he can definitely cause issues for Shakhtar. I also see Christian Eriksen coming on and causing some damage too. Unfortunately, there's no way that I can see Christian Eriksen being fielded in this game. If Inter do actually come up against a counter attack that is working, so if Shakhtar are on their game and they do counter Inter like they want to, and if Inter plays in their hands, Eriksen is going to be a huge liability. So I would, I can predict to see him maybe late game if it's like a 2-1 or a 2-0, to try to sort of hold the ball in a bit of a more threatening way, maybe the fresher legs to try to hit on the counter and end the game. So I do expect Inter Milan to actually do the same thing as they've been doing for the past couple of games now, all the way back to the Atalanta game, if I'm not mistaken, where you hit quickly, You attack quickly, you score quickly, team opposition is not set up, and you then try to hold out. And I think that Inter can definitely do that against the Shakhtar. So I predict another score of 2-0, with Lukaku once more at the very least being on target. So that's that. Thank you very much for tuning in, and